Definitely a real big push. Definitely a real big push. It was one of those things where I didn't know what the outcome was gonna be, but, I sure am gonna try my hardest and see what it can be, because if I knew there was 2 outcomes, either I try real hard and I get better, or I try real hard and I don't get better. But either way, I tried real hard.
Welcome to the Winners Win podcast, where we don't just talk about success, we live it, breathe it, and build it brick by brick. This is the show for the bold, the grinders, the builders, the dreamers who refuse to settle. Every week, we're going to bring you guys real conversations, raw lessons, and winning strategies from those who are actually in the trenches making it happen. Because in this world, average loses. And over here, winners win. We actually doing something new tonight. We are starting a new season. And the new season, this is the first episode of the first season ever of the interviewees of the Winners Win podcast, GFI. And tonight we're very excited. We're actually very blessed to have such an amazing person on our podcast with us. You're joined today by myself, Alfredo Chacon, the one and only action taker, Mr. James Rourke, and the bearded man himself, Mr. Eric Williams. How are you guys doing tonight?
You guys doing good?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Good. And then
Oh,
we're joined tonight by the one and only Jacob Adler. And the reason why we have Jacob Adler on is because Jacob actually truly embodies the soul of winning through adversity, becoming best friends with rock bottom, and then winning from rock bottom and growing and actually walking in a stature as if you would never know this gentleman went through what he went through. And tonight we actually have him on. We want to share his story to everyone. We want to get it out to the masses. And so please, just so you guys know, share this story. This story for sure will help someone know that even though you can meet the end, even though you can get to the point in life where there is no more hope, that there still is hope, and there's so much to actually gain from your trials in life. And so Jacob actually is very close to my heart. He's actually the soon to be brother, the legal brother-in-law. He's family for sure. And so I love it. We love him very much. I love him very much, and his story is very inspiring. And so, welcome, Jacob, to the Winners Win podcast, GFI. How are you doing, brother?
Thank you guys very much. I'm doing well. Really great to have this opportunity to be with you guys because, being surrounded by a bunch of winners, it's obvious winners win. So, very, very
Let's
nice to
go,
be
baby. Let's
here.
go.
Very nice to be here tonight.
Good, man. Yeah, very very happy to have you. And like, so you just barely came into business with us at GFI. What, a couple months ago? And
Yeah,
then
I'd say just about a month now. So definitely getting immersed in everything. And it's like I said, it's clear that being surrounded by everybody in here like that, winners do win here. And it's yeah, just a great opportunity to be with GFI and be brought onto it.
yeah, yeah, man. And so guys, his Jacob, we would like to know a couple things. Like, first, we're gonna get in your story here in a little later. Earlier me and Jake were talking, and I actually asked him, I said, hey, do you mind if I use your story tonight on our podcast when we record it? And he was like, yeah, sure, go right ahead. And as we kept talking, I was like, nah, man, I would not do it any justice. I would not do it any justice tonight. We really want to talk to you guys tonight about how failing forward is crucial to winning. That when the tough times come along, when they roll in, that it's actually an indication that you're about to win. You're gonna strengthen yourself. And so Jacob has a great story about that. And so let's kind of dive into that a little bit. First off, what got you into GFI?
So Elizabeth, Fredo's sister-in-law, started getting involved with all of it. And so I would, after my 9 to 5 job, I would sit in the same room but not be on any of the, any of the Zoom calls or anything, but I would always overhear, little hot words, and was privy to a training that Fredo was running one night and just kept saying the word fulfillment. And every time he said the word fulfillment, my goosebumps got bigger and bigger every time. And that was the start of getting into GFI, is you running that training, and it really just speaking to me that in my current position where I'm at, I was just 100% not fulfilled, and that call really brought that in, full force. And so
Yeah.
after having that talk with, you and James, it was kind of apparent this is probably the right path for me. This is, this is that opportunity knocking, and I can't just let it go by the wayside again. So it's definitely what sent me into the direction of GFI.
Yeah. That's amazing. So what, if you don't mind telling everyone, like what was the industry that you came from?
I came from the culinary industry. I was the executive chef for a long time at a couple of big corporations in California. Moved out to Iowa. I was the executive chef for the hospitals out here. So definitely a very very prominent career in being in the culinary industry. But again, after 20, 25 years of doing it, realizing that I'm just not being fulfilled. I still got the passion for food, but just for the management end of that industry, just what really wasn't doing it for me anymore. Really, like, legitimately wasn't being fulfilled every day when I would go to work.
Yeah. And w- everyone has their own definition of the word fulfillment, but what was it about that word and what is it about fulfillment that truly spoke to you that night?
It was really the idea of I poured, I always said it's in that industry, it's your literal blood, sweat, and tears that go into what you do. And
100%.
there really wasn't that ROI. There was no return on investment for me. Um, I was able to pay my bills, able to go out to eat and have a fun night out with Lizzie. Um, but I really didn't have a whole lot more to show for it, or other than a constant aching back and the need to wear knee braces every single day, because it's hard to stand on your feet 10, 12, 14 hours a day. And like I said, that literal blood, sweat, and tears. And so realizing at that point that, I got my bills paid. I've got a beautiful lady next to me, but really what else do I have to show for it, for pouring 25 years of my life into an industry that's really not paying it back towards me. So,
A quarter
um,
of a century to a quarter of a century.
yep, yep. And like we had in a conversation the other day, a lot of people, assume that you work until you die. Now you're supposed to work until you retire, but there was no retirement in that mind frame of where I was going.
Yeah, 25 years.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Like, there's probably some 25-year-olds listening to this, and imagine that your entire time from coming out, like you 25-year-olds listening to this, like you coming out of your mother's womb all the way to the through adolescence now to 25 years old. Like, that's how long Jacob was giving his all, like what'd you say, blood, sweat, and tears to
Yeah,
an
literal blood,
industry,
sweat, and tears.
and it did not fulfill you for a quarter of a century.
Yeah.
That is nuts. James here actually comes from the restaurant industry as well, and
Yeah,
that's why
not a
you
quarter,
guys,
not a quarter century, but still 17 years of it. And Jacob's not lying about it. Blood, sweat, and tears, the unfulfilledness, the constant. I honestly, it's more devastating after being fulfilled here in GFI to know what we had to go through there just to pay a bill
Yep.
and the stuff we had to give up to pay a bill. Like, I have 4 kids.
yeah,
I missed their childhood because of that industry.
Yep.
And now being fulfilled in GFI and being doing this for 18 plus months now, I get to see my kids every single day.
yeah.
Take half days and take
Cool.
them to the zoo. I know Jacob, Jacob understands, like, if anybody understands, it's him, quarter century in the restaurant industry. It's no joke. It's literally devastating on the body and the mind, you know, and you gotta really be a strong-willed person to get through it.
Yep.
And then the other side doesn't have fulfillment like GFI. So
Yeah. So you got into GFI. You actually contacted me, right? And you're like,
Mhm.
hey, short, long story short, you said in the text like something really hit the world fulfillment, and I want to know more. And you had a meet with me and James, and then you went in on it. You failed your test the first time, which is a
Yep.
big part of the story, by the way. Just so you
Yep.
guys know, like today we're talking about what creates champions, and that's failure.
Yep.
See, most people look at failure and trials in their life as like an indication to stop or an indication to quit. When I want everyone to truly understand this, when a failure or a trial happens in life, it is an indication that you're on the right track. Because what is the point? Listen, whether you're spiritual, whether you're religious, no matter, even if you're just like a universal, whatever it is, there is a give and a take. There is a yin to the yang. There is a bad to the good. There is an enemy to the hero. Like there is a villain to the hero. There is whatever it may be. And so think about this, like when you're doing something good for your life and you run into a roadblock, that was put there. Number one, the enemy, I'm going to use God because I'm a spiritual person. So God allowed the enemy to put that in your life. Number one, um, because we're allowed to make choices on our own. And if everything was perfect, we would actually never grow as individuals. So the roadblocks are allowed to be in our life to test us to see if we're actually worthy, to test us to see if we're worthy of the testimony on the other side. So your first time taking the test, by the way, we all have these situations. I want to talk about yours because yours is so powerful that most people would quit when they fail their first test. But the reason why you didn't quit because you overcame a astronomical size test about a year and a half before you failed your first time. By the way, you passed the second time. Congratulations, brother,
Yep.
because you got back up. Like Rocky always talks about, or
Let's
that.
go.
Well, Eric, what's that quote from Rocky? It's like it's not.
Oh,
What is it? It's not how bad.
uh,
I'm going to use like a
I don't
British
know.
accent.
James, doesn't James know?
No, it's
I didn't
it's
bring up the
not
Rocky
how
thing, but
bad. It's not about how hard you get hit. It's about how hard you get hit and get back up, right? And
my
so
my old boss used to say, "Down don't mean out.
down don't
Down
mean
don't mean
out.
out."
That's a lot
Yep.
better. I'll probably just go
Down
with
don't mean
that from
out.
here on out.
Yep.
I don't want
Straight and to the
to.
point. Straight to the
Yeah.
point. I like
Yep.
it.
Down don't mean
People are
out,
now
man. Let's go.
people are now knowing us by like certain things, right? And James is the phrase 100%. Like that is James's phrase. We're gonna make t-shirts and sell them like where it says
100%.
100% James Rourke. Mine is just mumbled jumbled words means something great to the heart. Afraid of Chacon, right? We don't know. Eric said
TM.
this is the second podcast.
TM.
TM, right? Trademark. But Jacob, your big test, and I don't know your full life, but a year and a half. Let's talk about what happened close to about a year and a half before you took your test for the first time. What test did you go through? What ended up happening to you?
So 3 days into my new position that brought me out to Iowa, at the hospital, actually ended up at that same hospital 3 days into that job, with a brain hemorrhage that left me paralyzed on the left side of my body, right side of my face. Literally could not walk, could not talk, feed myself. It was a real tough time. But ended up getting into the hospital, spent about 3 weeks in the hospital initially, going to outpatient rehabs and rehab facilities and that kind of stuff. So spent about 5 6 months learning how to walk, talk, feed myself, just learn how to cook myself cook a PB&J at that point. So
Oh
just
my
even
God.
trying to get up and downstairs and that sort of thing. And I'm fully
Wow.
back to normal now. I'm feeling back to my old self physically again.
Thank
And
God.
yeah, thankfully didn't lose any
Yeah.
of the mental cognition or anything like that, but fully
No, you're sharp, man.
yeah, fully back at it again. So that's definitely given that second opportunity at everything. It was really coming down to like I don't know if I don't know if I'm gonna make it through this one. You know, I definitely don't know if I'm gonna make it
Wow.
through. And then making it through and making that realization that all really came down to it like, hey man, I've been given the second opportunity. Well, let's go bust my back again. You know, let's go get those cuts and the burns and the hard times and the crying on the drive home because it's just too much to handle that day. And what's this all for? You know, it's definitely made it that much easier understanding that I can make it through something like that. And to fail my very first license exam by one question, I missed it by one question. Like, am I really gonna stop after all that I've been through? Am I really gonna stop at one question off?
Oof.
One question away? Like,
Oh yeah.
got home after that, and I think I scheduled it that very same day for about 5 days later and went in with a full force and got like a 94 or 96 or something like that. It was
Let's
impressive. I
go.
impressed myself on that one, that's for sure.
Let's go back to the point where you were in the hospital. So I know we kind of brazed over that. Let's kind of break that down a little bit because there's so much to just unpack.
You know,
So you had a brain hemorrhage. What ended up happening? Like, how did you end up getting into the hospital? Like, did you just one day not feel good, or did you faint? Like, how did you get into the hospital?
yeah, woke up one day getting ready for work and stood up and literally just fell over. And thankfully Lizzie was there and said, "Hey, nope, we're going." And ended up taking me into the ER. That's what initially brought me in there. And after misdiagnosis and get sent home and stuff like that,
You
uh,
got sent home.
yeah, they misdiagnosed me, sent me home, said if it doesn't clear up in 5 days, come back to us. 2 days later, I looked over at Liz and I
Wow.
said, I'm not making it 5 days if I don't go today or tomorrow. Like, I'm definitely not making it out of this. And
What did you like? What did you feel?
um a lot of hopelessness. The mental game was a lot of hopelessness of, everything that's happened to me in my life. Like, I can power through it and I can do something to change my situation. And this was just sit there and hope it gets better because there really is nothing to do.
So,
Physically, it was a lot of kind of the same thing, that hopelessness, like, hey, can you unscrew this bottle of water for me? That's a lot of stuff that everyone takes for granted.
oh my gosh,
Um,
you couldn't even open. Okay, so you were sitting in the hospital. They said 5 days,
mhm.
and you're like, I can't make 5 days.
Yep.
And so then you just told the doc. Didn't you work at that hospital too?
Yeah, that I ended up going to the ER at the hospital that I was the executive chef for.
Gosh,
Yeah, and I
man.
I do feel that kind of gave me a little boost up with the pats on the back and the hey, we'll do everything we can kind of thing. But
Oh, so it was like an employee discount.
yeah, exactly.
Still,
50%
man,
off.
that's gonna be so crazy to think, that you come out to Iowa 3 days into your new position as executive chef, you end up in the hospital
Yep.
in the same place you're working.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like me myself, I wouldn't know what I would have thought. Like, what do I look like to all these new people? I'm gonna be the executive chef of it. Did that thought ever cross your mind? Like,
Yeah. And honestly, it was like that. I feel like there was one person that came to see me from the executives and stuff like that. And aside from that, there wasn't a lot of people that knew who I was since I was so new in the position.
right,
In that same token, I knew that everybody's like, hey, where's the new guy? And all of a sudden, people talk. And so it was kind of that almost an embarrassment of like, I don't want you to see me in this light, like I'm gonna be your boss. I don't want you to see me like this. Like, how am I gonna be in
Yeah.
charge of you if I'm the guy hooked up to the machines? And so there was a lot of mental stuff going on. And being in a new place like Iowa from Southern California, that was a big culture shock in and of itself. And then for that to happen right after moving here, that was another big shock, that's for sure.
right.
So you were being very humbled by life at that moment. I'm not saying you were prideful, your ego was big. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that like life was like throwing literally every bit at you.
Hmm.
So you had a brain hemorrhage and half your body was paralyzed.
Hmm.
And like now you are, what is there any residual effects from it?
Yeah, I've got a little tingle here, this quadrant right here. There's a slight
Okay.
tingle all the time.
Okay.
Um, and the other thing that I noticed, I've recently come to the realization is that, most of my mental stuff is there, but song lyrics, like music, song lyrics,
Man.
just most of those are just gone, and I got to relearn all of them and that sort of thing. Stuff I've been listening to my entire life, but it's yeah, the residual would be I'd say the tingle, the song lyric thing. And I still do kind of mourn my career that I had. I was a chef for, quarter century. As more than half of my entire life was spent doing that. And to mourn that kind of loss, of that kind of effort put into something like that. And it was fun. There was a lot of good times.
Yeah.
Was I fulfilled at the end? No, but there was a ton of good times throughout all of it. I traveled around the country and that's how I met Lizzie. So
Yeah.
it's not all bad, but yeah, I would say that was a big thing for a long time, is mourning the loss of my initial career. That's for sure.
So, I mean, the more you talk about it, the more I'm just like, wow, people have literally nothing to cry about. Some
No, it's
people,
100% that, Fredo. Like you're 100% right there. Like, not knowing, knowing my own personal story in the restaurant industry, but hearing Jacob's, like you're correct. Like
yeah,
people always like, oh, what are you whining about? What are you crying about? Like,
yeah, people can
it's
literally
it, it
have,
just mind blows me to hear this
and then just
story,
to
and this
see
guy's
you
still here.
as, yeah, and then just to see, like James, like we hung out with Jacob here in
Hmm.
Chicago,
Yep.
and it was like you would never even know that that's what you went through, and that's a winner. Just so you know, like that's a winner
Right.
that you went through a trial and it didn't define you.
Yep.
That it
Yep.
because oh my goodness, you know how many people sit here and they're like, my goldfish drowned, my life is over, and it's like, dude, someone literally was on their deathbed,
Right.
forgot everything, they were paralyzed, and then you a year and a half later was like, I'm learning a whole new career. Actually, I'm gonna go pass the test doing it too. Like, are you? Is
It's
that? Does that like? Am I the only one that like super just
no.
like mind blows, right? Like, I feel like the whole entire podcast is just like that story.
Yeah.
Like not even just this episode, just like that. Like you're going to get kicked in the guts. I'll just say that. You're gonna get kicked. You're gonna get hurt. And it's up to you if you're going to get back up and go after it and actually do something with it, because it's not about just going through a trial. It's actually winning through a trial.
Hmm.
Now,
Hmm.
now let's talk about that. So like everything was taken from you. Most of the motor skills was taken from you,
Yeah. 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 The entire
and you had
the
to.
entire left side of my body couldn't put any weight on my foot, like literally couldn't do anything.
How
To
long did
learn
it
how
take?
to walk and all that stuff.
What's that?
Had to learn how to walk.
Yeah, yeah. Went from no mobility to being able to stand to being able to walk 20 steps with a walker to
Okay.
50 steps with a cane to having the little gait belt around and they hold on to it while you walk around to I'm walking out of the rehab facility on my own. It was definitely a real big push. Definitely a real big push. It was one of those things where I didn't know what the outcome was going to be, but I sure am going to try my hardest and see what it can be, because if I knew there was two outcomes, either I try real hard and I get better, or I try real hard and I don't get better. But either way, I tried real hard, to at least get the best outcome that I possibly can.
Right.
It's
I don't know what to say.
That's a sound clip right there.
That's a
Either I
sound
try
clip.
really
That's
hard
gonna
and
be
get.
when I get my clips out of this for our shorts out of this. That is 100%.
How do you
That's
not
it.
like?
Jacob, you're an inspiration, brother. You truly
You
are.
Yeah,
are,
you
dude.
definitely
Like,
are.
I appreciate it. It's and I inspire myself a lot too. And I
it's
look
good.
back on a lot of things. I'm like, yeah, I never thought I was gonna make it through that, and like here I am today. Like I never thought I was gonna be at a like a GFI event after kind of hearing some stuff, and oh yeah, I've got my career. Like that's you know more than half of my life spent doing that, and this is a no-brainer to go where I wasn't even a part of it and I felt fulfilled. Like that there's something to that. There's something to that.
Well, especially since it's like we were talking about earlier, man, cooking and taking care of people and breaking bread with people, like that's something that should bring you constant fulfillment. Like, why aren't you in an environment that like people are having weddings
Yeah.
and celebrating graduations and promotions and anniversaries and things like that with you? You know what I mean? And dude, like for you to be in a situation where you still don't feel fulfilled, like that's kind of
That's a
messed
good
up.
point.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that was such a big part of, I was a banquet chef for a while, and
yeah.
you seeing the smiles on everyone's faces at their the wedding table, and eating
You're
the
a part
food
of
that
their
I
favorite time. Yeah, important
specifically
times.
cooked, and then I walk to the back of the kitchen with my head down, and I don't feel like I did much with myself that day. There's
Yeah,
something there's some sort of there's something not clicking on that. There's something not
yeah,
clicking on that. That's for sure.
No,
Well,
100%. It makes you think because I'm same way with Eric. I mean, same way with Jacob. Like you get told all the time how amazing your food was and thank you so much and they're so appreciative of you, but then you go back to the kitchen, put your head down because either you're too exhausted or you just don't feel it was even genuine.
Yep. Yep.
uh, that
Yep.
sucks.
And it's just like you said, the fulfillment is everything. Like I didn't know I wasn't fulfilled. Maybe I knew in my head, but I didn't even know. Wait, maybe I didn't even know what fulfillment was until I met Alfredo, and
Yeah.
I got the opportunity to work for GFI. I didn't know what the fulfillment formula was. I knew I made money to pay bills, to go have fun with my kids on my one day off a week or my half a day off a week,
Yeah,
Yep.
and
it
that was
Yep.
is.
fulfillment to me. That was fun to me. Like that was fulfillment, but I didn't have the other five F's. So to be completely fulfilled, like I didn't have no idea what that was.
Yeah. Yeah.
me
I worked,
neither.
there was a time where I worked 48 days straight, not a
Mm-hmm.
day off. I worked open to close
Yep.
48 days straight. And at the end of that, I was able to pay my bills and take a small weekend trip and, got some back pain and some knee pain from it. That's what
one
I've
Hundred
got to
percent.
show for
Gotcha.
that 48 days. That's exactly what I've got to show for it from that.
You
Man,
know, when it comes down to like where we all came from, and this is to everybody who is in GFI, because by the way, it is very rare to find someone in GFI that came from the financial industry. Most of the time, and this is a call to everyone who's listening to this, that's not yet to GFI. There is a point in your life, whether you have gone through it and or you're about to go through it, or you're currently going through it, and you don't even know you're going through it yet until someone actually brings it to your attention, that you are absolutely hating it. You're sucking wind just to get up out of bed. Like you are, I will never forget the moment I woke up one morning and I was having heart palpitations. And I laid down and I thought to myself, I'm about to die at age. I was in my early 30s. It was actually right before I got into the industry because I was so stressed out. I was so unfulfilled. I had a friend in my industry that I came from that got Bell's palsy because he was so stressed one day. And I called in sick the day I had my heart palpitations. And I remember calling in and I was like, hey, I can't come in. Like, I had heart problems this morning. And they're like, cool, we'll see you tomorrow. Not one time did someone say, like, are you okay? Like, then one day, I was actually in the industry and I was part time. And I also like, I'll finish my story, but I also want to tell you guys this. Like, those who are listening to this, and you're just like, that was me. Like, someone did that. Like, just so you know, you're going through this. You're going through the rough times right now to experience the good times later and actually appreciate them. Because we cannot really fully appreciate the good times if we do not fully understand the bad times. And so when you're going through a bad time, it's okay. It's supposed to happen because there's a great time rolling around the corner. And if you never experience the low, you'll never understand the high. You'll never appreciate the high. So anyways, I remember one time I was actually like I was on the phone with my mom. My mom was having a heart attack with me on the phone. I had to like merge in 911 with her. And I was in this industry, by the way. And I was already 1 foot in, 1 foot out of the construction industry. And I remember calling my boss after I got 911 to my mom's house, calling my boss and being like, "Hey, I got to run to my mom's house. I got to go. My mom just had a heart attack on the phone with me." And he said, "If you don't show up today, you're terminated." And I said, "Write the paperwork. I'll see you tomorrow for the termination." And I didn't get fired. They actually knew that was going to be a lawsuit. But the point is this: your job doesn't care about you. Stop lying to yourself in the morning. Honestly, you know who cares about you and who really cared about you, Jacob? I remember Lizzie calling Nicole every day, crying to her like, she never want to give up on you. You got yourself a real good woman, man. There's a lot of people out there that give up on people when they're at their low. And
Oh,
you got yourself a real good one right there, because she was like, "I'm not giving up on him. Like, I'm gonna see this through. Oh my gosh, what am I gonna do?" And then, Nikki was talking to her about it. But like, the reason why I bring up my story about that, and the reason why I want to bring up the whole job, not really caring about you guys, and that's really honestly why you hate life. Your money does not. You've been working for your money, but the money ain't buying you happiness. Now, money can buy things that make you happy, but really, it doesn't buy you fulfillment. That's really like the real talk when it comes to that phrase. Money doesn't buy you fulfillment. Money can buy you things that I was on a sea-doo a couple weeks ago and I was happy as can be, right? Even though I crashed. But anyways, point being is that, Jacob, you had to go back to work right afterwards.
yep.
Like, talk about that. You had to learn how to cook, right? And then you
I
had to go back to work.
Yeah, it's I remember having that conversation with Lizzie and I was like, I'm gonna start applying for places. I feel like I can stand for an extended period of time now. And that was like my definition of like I'm able to go back to work. Like I know that I can at least stand for 8 hours now. Like, that it and to go into something just so immediately physical, and it immediately was those. I was, like I said, I was a banquet chef, 10, 12, 14 hours a day. And like I just learned to walk again, guys, so it's
Wow.
and even that, like having the ability to walk and talk and go back to my old career, like I got that, and like, oh man, yeah, this just ain't doing it. This just ain't doing it
But
for
you just
me.
had a brain bleed and you didn't have to have any surgery. You didn't have to like nothing.
No,
Like it
yeah,
just cured itself. Like
yeah. So
that's awesome.
yeah, by the grace of the big man up there,
Wow.
he it was about the size of a golf ball initially. Went back after I got out of the rehab and everything, that was like cleared. Went back 1 month for a new MRI, went 3 months after that, 6 months after that, and it went from size of a golf ball to it's like the size of a pinhead now. Just
Wow.
like almost unviewable on the MRI scans now. They do say that it was like if it happens, if it bursts again, it'll be within the first year. And so there was like, that's why there was that much focus on it after that first year. But they said if it doesn't happen after that, like just, there's like a 88% chance that it's gonna happen. And if it doesn't happen, consider yourself really lucky. And I definitely consider myself, really blessed, and I'll say lucky though, but I'm very blessed that I was given that opportunity to just kind of get back all at it,
Yeah.
without ever
I could
having that.
tell your experience like fuels your conviction for everything because I can see like all the different holes and what you went through and like how our company could help all like fill almost all of those things.
Right.
So it's crazy. It's crazy how that
Yeah,
works out.
and it really has been such an incredible experience just being with GFI for the past month. um Being in that career that I went back to of being unfulfilled, and just literally stepping back into like, hey, I've got the second chance at life, and let's go back to the grind, and jumping back into that. It really does send you into a weird place mentally, because like I know that I'm a great cook. I know that I'm a great chef.
You are very good at
I appreciate that.
everything you make. Yeah.
I appreciate that. But it's going back to that because I feel like I've got nothing else to give because that's all I've done for my entire life is there's something wrong about that. Puts you into a weird mental state of like, oh, just here I am again. Let's pay some bills. Let's go back to
Did it
work and
create
go
a
to sleep and wake
foil?
up and go back to work. So it's
Did it create a foil? Like your experience, did it create a foil, like contrast, like a defining moment? Like I've been wasting this. Like, is that what like you felt? Like, because it seems
yeah,
like you
I
just
don't even know. I don't even
you
know if
don't
it
do
was
something
a
for 25 years and like something that you started out loving, and then all of a sudden you just, man, this sucks. You know what I mean?
you
Like,
know
or did you?
I don't think that there was a specific moment. I think it was a just a culmination of a lot of different things. Like I went from starting out as a line cook at a bar, and worked my way up to being the executive chef of a hospital system for a state.
Hey,
That was like I made it, like
yeah,
I did what I busted my butt 80 hours a week for 10 years, 20 years, like I made it. And so then when all the medical stuff happened, it goes, where's that rug we're gonna pull out from under you? And I went, oh man, like I put in so much effort and all right, let's start applying again. Learn to walk again. Let's start applying. So I really do think it was the culmination of like, hey man, you finally did it. You finally got to where you've wanted to get to. And then they go, think again. Maybe this isn't what you're supposed to be doing. And that really
Wow.
was that moment altogether. Like, maybe the universe is telling me something. Maybe
yeah.
God's telling me something. Maybe there's more to it than just flipping some burgers and making a menu.
Now, are you spiritual? Like, are you?
I am. I like to kind of say that I'm like multi-denominational. I'm very spiritual. I believe the universe has an energy to it, but I also believe that God is the universe
Right.
and we are the universe. So
Yeah.
Just curious.
definitely got my box
Do you
of
think that
crystals, my
that's what
sage
brought
over
you here,
here.
though? Do you think that
Yeah.
that's what brought you to GFI? Like,
It was more than just like, whew, that gave me goosebumps. I hadn't felt that feeling in decades. The
Go ahead.
fulfillment that was the energy from up above coming back down. That's
Yeah.
that's exactly
yeah,
what that was.
That's really what I love about our faith here at GFI is that literally, like what you said, I'm multi-denominational. What's cool is that like any denomination, any type of belief system fits in here. We just ask that you find belief in something, minimum yourself.
Yep.
What I found, because when I came into the industry, I was very agnostic. I just came out of atheism. We're not going to go into my story at all, but I'll just say that that's a totally different topic for a totally different time. But like I
that'll
came
be
from
fun.
atheist. Yeah. I came from atheism. I came from super religious to atheism to agnostic to I can't live without I can't go without a day of without just talking to God. Whether and it's like whether that be whoever you talk to, and that's just so cool about GFI that they're a faith-based company, and by faith-based they don't mean religious-based. Now we are Christians here, but it doesn't mean that like those who are not like faith-based on Christ doesn't belong, and so that's what I think you love about it as well. Let me, if you don't mind me asking, what else has bettered in your life? I know earlier we were talking about what's today. Today's day what of what?
Oh yeah, this is today is here. Let me actually pull up so we can give you an exact on it. Today is I'm currently at this very moment 25 days, 23 hours, 4 minutes, and 24 seconds sober from alcohol.
Let's go.
Dude, that's
It
so
all
cool, man.
I'm a
Congratulations.
very, very that
and
hits me.
and I'm gonna be real transparent here. I was a daily drinker, and I'm not talking like I'll have a beer. Like whenever you hear the phrase, this is a common thing in sobriety is, one. one's not, one's too many and 1,000 is never enough. And that was fully true. If I had 1,000, I'd be trying to figure out where I could get my second 1,000 from. But yeah, I'm coming up on 25, 26 days of sobriety, and I feel like a new person.
That's awesome.
Being able to
Dude,
sleep through the night, I thought that was because of my stomach issues. Turns out I don't even really have a bunch of stomach issues just because I drank a lot.
man, I'll tell you what,
I'm
Jacob.
pretty emotional. Huh? Let
I
me.
know, dude. That's well, why,
I'm
James?
5 years sober.
Really?
Mhm.
5 years sober, dude.
Almost 5 years. December
That's
31st will
go,
be
freaking.
5 years.
James.
My
Isn't it
wife and I
crazy,
both.
man? Like, isn't it
And
crazy?
Jacob, like, just say the same thing. Like, I was just a daily drinker. It was 2, 3, 4 bottles of vodka a day drinker. Nobody knows this about me, and I have a chance to speak out about this because Jacob right here is 25 days sober, and
Yeah.
that's a huge, huge
Yeah.
accomplishment. Because my first 60 days were absolutely miserable. I'm literally like, there's tears dropping down my face right now
I'm holding them back
because
right now. The
it's
skin's
not an easy
tingling.
thing. It's not an easy thing in the restaurant industry. It's
That
so
part.
hard on you, and it leads you to that problem
I
because you
Yeah.
go home and you don't know how else to mask the pain and to mask the problems going on in your life because you physically have no time to deal with your problems.
that blood, sweat, and
Y-
tears. Like, hey man, I'm tired of hurting and crying. Like, toss a couple back. I don't even got to worry about it today. I'll worry.
And a
That's
couple
tomorrow's problem.
Numb the
couple turns
pain.
into 100, turns into 1,000, like he just said. So yeah, I'm almost 5 years sober, and for Jacob to be 25 days sober, that's a fantastic accomplishment. And
To be oh, I just want to say that like the fulfillment formula has nothing to do with making millions. Just so you
heck
guys
no, it
know.
doesn't.
Like it has
No, it
nothing to do
doesn't.
like in the meantime, we're gonna make a lot of money doing what we do, helping families. But to be very honest with you, if I don't make another freaking dime from this industry, knowing that we could be a place of refuge for James to come during, because by the way, an alcoholic is always an alcoholic, correct? There's
100%.
never right. You're always like that's what my dad was an alcoholic too, and he was recovering his entire life, and that's what he told me. He's like an alcoholic's always an alcoholic, and just to know that like you individuals like can come in and find solace is worth more than any paycheck that I'll ever make in this industry, because that means that we're a part of something bigger and there's a soul in you that's actually being nurtured instead of a body that's being used. And that's what a job does. Back to the individual who's listening, and you're just like, that's not me. That's you, isn't it? You're sitting here probably wondering, like, what's my soul's purpose? And, you go home probably looking at your kids or your family or maybe your PlayStation because that's what you got going on for you. But you're probably wondering, like, what's my soul's purpose? Your soul's purpose isn't to be used and abused by someone to build their dreams. Your soul's purpose is to find your potential, find a location and or community that will help you build that and then excel into your God-given gift. That's it. It just happens to be that GFI literally focuses the entire business
Model.
structure model, thank you, off of that. The
It's ingenious.
it is like it is the most God sent business model out there. Yes, what we do for families is absolutely fantastic. We're not going to get into that. This isn't a product training and or field training, but like just to see you two come from such a rough industry. You know what's crazy, Eric? I just realized you and I came from the same industry and they came from the same industry. Isn't that
Right.
nuts? But you and I are
Yeah.
like, damn, maybe we're happy we came from construction.
No, not
We
at all.
came. Eric's like, not at all, man.
No,
There's so many
I'd be
more
in a
people out
hole
there.
digging 100 or 100-degree heat and be looking at like the equipment operator in the air conditioned cab and be like, dude, that's where I need to be. And then once I got there, then I was, looking at the plant manager in the office, dude, that's where I need to be.
That's
So
a good. That's
nah,
a good point. That's
I'm
a good
all
point.
like, and I'm topped out where I'm at. I can't go any further. So I needed to go somewhere else. And I mean, GFI is like, what's the limit? Like everything's still expanding. We're still growing. Like there is no limit. Like that's
Yeah.
There is
amazing.
none. Like I said, there's so many
What's above
people.
the sky, huh? What's above
Yeah,
the
right.
Right.
sky?
God.
There's so many people out there in both sets of industries, but the restaurant industry in general that are just like me and Jacob, and they're just trying to find that. And I hope one day this podcast does find them, because they're going to hear this and they're going to be like, all right, they can do it, so can I. And that's literally why I sat down with Fredo on our trip and said we're making a podcast, and we started right then and there in the 12th floor of the Ritz-Carlton. If you haven't watched the first episode, go watch it. But and we will never stop this because of this night right here. I will never give up this podcast. I will do all the episodes I want to do until the day I can't figure out how to work a computer anymore. Why? Because this means something, and this is going to find somebody who's going to change their life.
This is going to completely change an entire generation.
100%.
Thank God for GFI. But like,
It's
I'm
that
very
God favorite
thankful.
individuals.
Yeah, God favorite individuals, GFI.
Go.
But also, like, I'm just very grateful as well for you gentlemen. Honestly, just taking a bet on yourself, because like winners, winners bet on themselves. They don't expect someone to win for them. They just go and do it themselves. And like when you were in your bed, Jacob, on your deathbed, let's be honest with you. How many times did you feel like this is it?
I remember there was like 3 specific times. I don't know if I'll go into detail of what was going on in that moment. There was about 3 specific times in that couple in that I'd say in that first month of everything going on that I was like positive, like this is it. Like started calling friends and family and hey, by the way, this is what's going on. I don't know if I'm gonna make it out of it. There's definitely a couple of times in there that first month or so that I was real nervous about it, that's for sure.
Yeah, like so, like life literally helped you meet rock bottom.
Exactly. Exactly. Like no, yeah, it basically because like I said, I felt fine a couple of days before. Like everything was perfectly fine. No reason to be like, hey, I should probably go get checked out. Like life literally said, hey, let's let's try something new. Let's see if you let's see if me flicking you in the back of the ear does something for you this time. And by George, it did.
I Georgia did. You took a bet on yourself, and that's why you are gonna win. See, most people they're too scared because they've been programmed to think. They've been programmed to fear. They've been programmed to think that fear is normal. Fear is a tool. It actually, like, fear and adversity is a tool to use and an indication that you're on the right track. Like once I learned that the moment I start to feel anxious, the moment I start to feel like I just lost, the moment I just got beat up, I actually get really excited. Nicole hates it, by the way. She freaking hates it. She's like, this just happened. I'm like, yeah, I know this just happened. Like, we just lost this. I know, but do you know we get a sevenfold in return? She's like, you're too positive. No, I am actually not positive enough. Like, and I just like, she hates it, but no, she really loves it. And that's what you did. Even without it, I don't even think you even realized it. I think you were just in survivor mode. Would you agree? Like, you were just in survival mode trying to thrive?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
If
a lot of that kind of stuff ends up being hindsight. Like, oh, that's what that was, huh?
Yeah, now you can look at things that are happening when it's uncomfortable, when your anxiety is going, out the wazoo, when life kicks you while you're down, it's an indication that you're about to win. Not only are you about to win, but you're actually winning because you're doing it. And you're gonna obtain the medal, you're gonna obtain the championship once you just get back up and keep going.
Mm,
It's really what life's waiting for you to do. Like, you're gonna get up, and now you got this opportunity to have the sky's the limit, God's the limit, right?
yeah.
To have whatever you want here. So, man, an amazing story.
Well, and
And it's just,
GFI like sets forth a path, right? For that, for that. Like that's what I like about it. Cause like we were saying, it's like escaping escaping the Pharaoh. It's like Exodus. And you find yourself out in the desert, you know what I mean? But we have found something that's guiding us. It's like taking us to the promised land, like, and they laid out a path. They have plans. They have trainings. They show you the way. Let's go, Jacob.
100%. As my shirt should say, 100%
That is going to be
But
your
yeah,
shirt
it's
that
gonna
we
be my
sell.
shirt. It's just like I said. Don't quit when it gets hard. Winners win because they keep showing up, and that's the definition of it. We have to say thank you to Jacob being our first ever interviewee on the
Yeah, man.
interviewee season 1.
What a powerful
Way
way
to
to start.
start.
I don't even
Like,
know who can
oh,
even top this. We actually have, just so you know, like we have some pretty amazing people lined up. Like I know I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but like we have some pretty amazing people lined up. And
we already have the next 3.
this was an impromptu conversation that we had earlier. And first off, I just want to tell you just how I honestly mean this, Jacob. Like I'm very inspired by you. Um, I'm also just very freaking proud of you, man.
Oh,
Like,
I'm-
dude, to know someone with this story, like, even makes me feel like I just feel like an excuse I gave myself earlier. I was like, what? Now I look back, like, why?
Jacob wouldn't do that.
Jacob
Right.
wouldn't
Say
freaking
that.
do that.
Jacob
Jacob
wouldn't do
freaking did
that.
this. Like, Jacob
You're gonna
wasn't
be
even
my
moving.
measuring stick, Jacob. Now it's
And
gonna
now
be
you're
Yeah.
25 days sober
Yeah.
after going through that. I don't
Dude.
know how else to say it except I love you and I'm proud of you
We all
and
love you.
you
I love
truly
you
are an
guys too. I
inspiration.
love you guys too. And I just want
Yeah.
to throw this out there too. If anybody's sober curious, take that step. You
100%.
won't regret it. Um, if you ever think like, oh man, I really wish I had that beer last night, wish I had that wine, that drink last night. Nothing wrong with it, but I promise you, you're not gonna miss not having that drink tomorrow.
You won't.
Right.
Coming from
You'll,
2 guys that are now
Man.
sober, it's
if anything,
hard. It really
you're just
is
gonna
hard.
feel great after having a good night's sleep and waking up and eating breakfast and feeling good. So if anybody's sober curious, take that first step.
Sweet, man. That's a great way
Also,
to end.
DM us and comment if you need any help. We're here for you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's
We're here
actually a
for you.
good point. What's your handle on it? Are you gonna keep you should keep your handle on Instagram, by the way. Chef Jacob Adler.
Chef Jacob
You
Adler,
should.
Chef Jacob Adler. I was thinking about changing it up, and I'm like, I got my people on there. I'm a
Oh
chef,
man.
just
Nah,
just 'cause I'm
man.
trying to create wealth doesn't mean I can't still be a chef,
No, now you're
Like
a
we
chef of finances.
now you're chef of finance. Now you're not cooking books. I want to be very clear. Um, but I will say this, that earlier we were talking that we'll end after this, but like earlier we were talking about how your strengths. Do you remember your strengths that I gave you earlier?
I do. I got them written down right here
What
too.
are your strengths?
My strengths are structure. I care for others. I'm creative, and I'm very relational. I'm good at building relationships.
So that's an executive chef right there that God gave him those 4 gifts and the opportunity in life to use them to change lives. You wouldn't have met Lizzie if it wasn't for that. You wouldn't have gone through the rough time you went through. You wouldn't have been able to have the story of being addicted to alcohol, then to be a sober person now. And God gave you those 4 things, and now you can use those 4 things to come and build one of the largest sales organizations, distribution organizations here in GFI. And I truly believe you're going to be one of the largest people in this entire industry. I truly believe that, like with all my heart, because those 4 gifts you had, if you made someone good food by doing that, you're also going to make someone feel good by helping people. And so, anyways, guys, look at everything that you have in your life, whether it be a problem, whether it be a trial, whatever it may be, look at it as a blessing. There is a greater to equal blessing on the other side of every adversity in your life, as long as you do what, and that's look for it. So, anyways, Jacob, thank you for joining us tonight on the Winners Wooden podcast. We love you. We appreciate you, brother. And as we do it in GFI, we're going to GFI and what?
Go for
Go
it.
for it. All right, guys.
Let's
Good night.
go.
Have a good night.
Later, y'all.